Indirect light, what is that? It's a confusing term, but a lot of new plant parents kind of throws them a little bit because it sounds pretty simple, but I didn't really understand that there was different levels of indirect light, and I didn't really have a good analogy. I just thought, well, if you don't see your shadow, that's indirect light. Better analogy would be, imagine there's a really sunny day and you're outside and you can feel the warmth. You can actually feel the sun on your skin, if you want to call it that, because it feels so much warmer if you are in the sun versus if you walk in the shade. All of a sudden you don't have that feeling of heat on your skin. That's indirect sunlight, and you really want to look at when you get a plant to find out if it likes indirect sunlight or direct sunlight. Most of the time there's indirect sunlight, but there's different levels to that too. So we're going to go through and talk about the why, how, and what of indirect sunlight so your plants can thrive, because the right placement and right amount of sun is very important. So we're going to go through and talk about why is sunlight so important. Because you can really prevent leaf burn. If you get direct sunlight, you're going to get some, especially with your indoor plants, you're going to get some spots that start to scorch, and you get these little brown spots. Not very attractive. Leaf color for some plants, believe it or not, if you do direct sunlight, you're not going to get the colors because they lose their vibrance. It regulates temperature. Obviously, when you have direct sunlight, you have fluctuations between real hot, intense heat and then when the sun's gone low. That's not good. It also reduces water loss. So if you have direct sunlight, you're going to have a lot more water loss besides some of the other issues. How to provide indirect sunlight? Window placement. Many people like using the eastern part of their house, their windows, because usually the sun is just coming up and it might not be very much direct sunlight at all before it's gone. In our house, we have awnings, so we don't get direct sunlight in any of the rooms in the house. Use sheer curtains. Here's number 2. You can use sheer curtains to really get indirect sunlight. That's going to really help. And then possibly place your plants away from the windows. Not too far, but away from the windows, or at least from where the sun comes in directly. You can use reflect light if you want for some corners. Some people use mirrors. Be careful, you sometimes can burn them. And then rotating plants is so wise that sometimes if there is more sunlight than they want, if you rotate them and move them around, might be good. Now there's ways to measure light, and you could just say, well, I can determine the light levels. I don't really need anything. Well, if you're really trying to dial in what plants want, sometimes they want something a little bit more lower indirect sunlight. So there's something called foot candles, and they measure light by that. A low foot candle light or low light would be 50 to 250, and direct sunlight's over 2,500. So you can see there's a range there. Most of them like the medium, which is 250 to 1,000 foot candles of light. And there's all kinds of devices out there that measure this for you, usually very inexpensive. Here's some plants that really thrive in indirect sunlight. I'm going to go through these quick because it's all on my blog. Everything I do is always on my blog, so go there and check it out. Pathos, ZZ plant, Chinese evergreen, parlor palm, and snake plants all do well in indirect sunlight. Some like lower, some like medium. You can read about that in the blog. I got it all laid out for you. Common misconceptions. Indirect light does not mean dark. Never. Plants got to have some light. They have to have some light. Artificial lights are good, but they're not a substitute. Sometimes they're just like give you a little bit more of a supplement, because some of them don't have the full spectrum. So don't just consider just artificial lighting. And then seasonal considerations, definitely. There's certain times of year we have more sun than not, so that's going to maybe have an impact on how you rotate or place plants. So hope that information helps, and as always, come to our blog, and we're going to have all this information in the show notes. You can just click on it, and you can read up on it. So until next video, for you plant parents, God bless.